Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Dotson, and I am the host of Poetry Today. Poetry Today is very happy to be back. We owe it all to our technical wizard and production manager, Vic Walter. Many, many thanks. Highland Park Poetry has undergone several changes since our last episode, which was filmed just before COVID shut everything down. One of the big changes is that our monthly poetry readings and open mic events are now managed by a 5-person events team, and I am happy to have 2 of them with me this afternoon, Kate Hutchinson and Mary Beth Bretzloff. As a brief introduction, Kate Hutchinson recently retired from a 34-year career of teaching high school English in Chicago's northwest suburbs. Her poetry and personal essays have appeared in dozens of publications and won numerous awards, both regional and national, as well as 3 Pushcart Prize nominations. Her latest collection of poems, A Matter of Dark Matter, was released in 2022 by Kelsey Books. And actually, Kate was one of our guests in, is it the December, or was it December or November? I'm blanking now.
I think it was October.
October, okay. So time is fluid in my mind. All right. Anyway, but she did read several poems from her book at that event. Her 2 previous books include Map Making, Poems of Land and Identity, as well as The Gray Limbo of Perhaps. Kate is active with several local poetry organizations, so we are very lucky that she's helping us out as well. She serves as president for the Chicagoland Poets and Patrons and as assistant editor for the literary arts journal East on Central, also here in Highland Park. And Mary Beth, immediately to my left, has wanted to write since she could read chapter books. Several of her poems have been published on Highland Park Poetry's Muses Gallery over the years. She has also co-edited several poetry books for Highland Park Poetry. Her efforts on that are wonderful, and we're very grateful. Yes, thank you so much. Okay. Her first book of poetry is very close to publication. Ooh. And she also has a fiction novel that's currently undergoing revisions. Mary Beth is vice president of the Illinois State Poetry Society and serves as secretary and website administrator for East on Central Association. She is also active as a member in the Zion's Writer Guild and Writers in Progress, which has been meeting every 2 or 3 weeks for 15 years. Quite impressive. Mary Beth is also a board member of the Bretzloff Family Foundation, which helps students with post-high school education. So again, welcome to you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the new events team and some of the things that are coming up.
Well, it's exciting to be a part of a team like this because not only are we always connecting and we're staying in touch, but the ideas that come back and forth are really inspirational. And the ability to bring poetry to the area and introduce new poets to the area, I think, is the primary goal of this live event team.
Yeah, I agree. And what's especially exciting is a lot of new young poets, and we even have had high schoolers come, and we would like more of them to join us.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're all getting together on a regular basis again now and meeting each other, and then that helps feed into the other organizations. So there's this huge network now, I think, in northeastern Illinois for a lot of the poets that share ideas about open mic. And then when you do get together, like you say, it's inspiring. You get ideas from each other, and you feel the excitement when each other gets a poem published or a book coming out.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I even will start kind of looking at different libraries' programs and trying to find where ISPS or any other poetry organization can kind of put their foot in the door. And I actually ran across one that was being done up in the Waukegan Library, and I thought, how could this be? It's right in my backyard. How can it, you know? And so I reached out to the woman, and she's like, oh, I'm going to publish my book in June. I'm like, well, I am keeping a tab on you, because if you're publishing in June, I want to help you get that, you know, get that little recognition. So anything we can do to...
Okay, sign her up.
She's on the list. She's getting the
Okay.
newsletter. So I
good.
told her, go to these websites, you know, Highland Park Poetry, East End Central. So that's new poets. That's where I start to direct them right away.
And this community is just amazing. I live quite a ways west of here, and I was drawn to Highland Park when I first it was the old Madame Zuzu's. You know,
yeah.
I came to a reading there and eventually did myself read there. But, you know, to find your tribe, you know, you're willing to make that drive. And it's just such a rich arts community here. It's really unusual and welcoming.
Yeah.
Everyone, you and everyone have been so welcoming, and we try to nurture each other and nurture new voices. So, yeah, the art too. The ekphrastic opportunities in this town, to wander through town on a summer day and see the beautiful sculptures and artwork.
Right.
And get ideas for more writing. I find that really, really wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
It's-
You mentioned Madame Zuzu's, and we now have a new venue where we're having our monthly events. Does anyone want to talk about the new venue, where that is?
Oh, Laughlin Gallery is just absolutely beautiful. It's right on is it Sheridan Road, I think, right? I think it's 1900 Sheridan Road. And the space is beautiful. The artwork is amazing. Lauren, our hostess, is very gracious, and it's really a great place for a gathering like ours. And again, because there's art and poetry, it's a very vibrant venue.
Yeah, we've gotten such good feedback. We've had our readings there now 3 times. And more people. I think there were 25 people at the last one last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So now we have to get new chairs.
yeah.
Lauren very, she pulls the chairs out.
I don't know where they were coming from, but they were there.
But there, you know, and we struggled over it because, you know, Madame Zuzu's is a really cool place. And, you know, Corgan's new space is huge. He has the nice stage there. But, you know, we were kind of playing second fiddle a little bit because, you know, obviously they have a business to run.
They
And,
do,
you know,
and
music events that would come along and we would get bumped. And we wanted to have a place we could really lock in on and call our own.
Right.
And so as much as a lot of our readers, I think, were sad to, you know, to leave Zuzu's, and there was activity there. It was a restaurant, and so there were distractions. But the Laughlin Gallery is quiet and calm, and there's even a fireplace that we speak in front of.
Yeah.
And more people have been coming, I think, because they, you know, word has spread. This is an amazing vibe in this space. It's got the brick walls full of really cool art, the high ceiling, and it's quiet, and just a beautiful space.
So when are the regular events are scheduled for is it the second?
Second Saturdays, right? 4 o'clock. We can get in the doors at 4, and we start at 4:15 or so.
Okay.
And we always have usually two featured poets who read for 20 minutes each. And then we have our open mic, and anyone is welcome to come and read whatever they're working on.
Although we do have a limit,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Three poems.
2 or 3 poems.
Yeah, 2 if they're long, 3 if they're at normal length, and you know, and there's such a nice variety of the people in the open mics. And you know, my first time with Highland Park Poetry going to an open mic event, I went only because a woman in the Zion Writers Guild had read some of my poetry, and she said, "Have you read up on stage with a mic?" I said, "Oh my God, no, I never do that." And she said, "You will when you're ready." And I thought, she threw that gauntlet down. I'm gonna have to go now. So I went there kind of sweating bullets, but it was a lovely evening, and I dragged my husband the next time, and he said, "That's okay, you can go on your own next time." So, but you know, once you have that opportunity to share, it gets that much easier. And so if there's anybody new that's thinking, oh my God, I could never do that, you really can. And we're there to help you. You know, if you
Yeah.
really want me to sit there and hold your hand, I will do it. But you're going to be able to do it all on your
Oh,
own.
it's such a warm, welcoming community. I mean, no matter who's reading, they get a warm welcome from us and lots of applause. And yeah, it does take courage to get up and read your work. But I, like you say, once you do it once, that some of that kind of dies down and you're more comfortable.
Well, we have an event coming up pretty soon, February 11th?
Yes.
Am I right? Okay. So the second Saturday in February this year is the 11th at 4 p.m. at Laughlin Gallery. We're going to have Highland Park resident Julie Isaacson, and the other feature is Paul Buchheit.
No, it'll be
Oh, no, Leonard Lund.
Leonard
I'm sorry.
Lund,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Leonard Lund. Yes.
That's right.
And then in March, you're going to be one of the features.
Yes, yes.
And that's where Paul is going to
More
be.
Paul.
Okay.
And Paul is an amazing poet. We worked with him on
The East
poetry
Central.
selection with East End Central last year. And, you know, and just through Illinois State Poetry Society chapter meetings, he's attended a few, and I'm just always blown away by his poetry.
He always wins many awards at the
Yeah.
Poets and Patrons
Yeah.
annual contest.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
wow.
usually wins
Yeah.
3 or 4. So he's very talented. He's also just written a children's,
did.
a new updated version of Alice in Wonderland and got that published.
Oh, that's
so,
great.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he may
yeah,
read from that.
Yeah. And he won quite a few in the Illinois State Poetry Society contest too.
Yeah,
So
not surprised.
yeah. It, again, it's a small community, and
Yeah, well, and he lives
it's
in Chicago.
big, but
he
it's
lives
small.
in Chicago, but again, you know, people are willing to come quite a ways to join this community because it's just, you know, like I say, it's the tribe, it's the Poets Tribe. It's, you know, you want to be a part of it.
Well, since it's Poetry Today, maybe we should give the audience some poetry.
Okay.
How about Kate? You want to read
All
some
right,
of her? Okay.
sure. Well, my latest book that was published by Kelsey Books is A Matter of Dark Matter, and it came out last spring. And there is a poem, a title poem, A Matter of Dark Matter, and there are some fairly dark poems in the book. But I'm gonna go ahead and read the opening poem because it is January, and this poem is just called Cold. In the mass of brown leaves packed into a crook of branches, large and round as a classroom globe, nestles a lone gray squirrel. Who can say what's still hidden when the trees shed their frills down to hoop skirt bones? A hibernating heart beats so slowly it barely warms the skin. Even dreams cease in deepest snow. Under the January moon, the wind stirs the nest leaves, ruffling the squirrel's ears and tail. We must love something just enough.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Very nice. Mary Beth?
Okay. So I was listening to Simon & Garfunkel's The Only Living Boy in New York, and I thought, what if it was the last poet in New York? So here's last poet. No one knew when it happened. Slow was the shift, day by day, like a constant low tide. Smiles disappeared, laughter was muffled, then unheard altogether. No one thought of things or of others. Clouds dominated the sky, night and day. Dreams and hopes withered on vines without the sun. People forgot to share their thoughts, their love, and music fell silent. No one knew exactly when the last poet left.
Oh. Wow, that's nice. It does make us think that You know, we contribute so much to
do.
the world.
They're necessary.
Dreams and sunshine and all that
That's
good
right.
stuff.
Got those dreams and hopes growing again.
Well, I'll read a poem as well. This is currently published online in our Muses Gallery. And for the Muses Gallery for fall 2022 and winter 2023, which will be up on our website until through the end of March. This is called Poet's Choice. That meant there was no particular theme, no form required. And I just contributed this one called Emotional Solution. I'm stapling anger by its ear to the corkboard, but it refuses to stay put. I'm thumbtacking fear and nailing jealousy, but they wriggle and writhe on the wall. Duct tape works well on shame and regret, but even extreme stickiness won't fix them in place. I'm running out of supplies to keep my emotions in check. Hope and love better get here soon.
You know, we maybe should talk about Highland Park Poetry's challenge. So
Yes,
those
yes,
poets
sure.
that are not here or haven't really heard, you have your poetry challenge coming up.
Right. I think we've been doing it since 2008, so don't make me do the math. But yeah, this year's challenge, we are inviting poets of all ages and all levels of expertise. You don't have to be a published poet to contribute. The 3 challenge options are write about flowers. That was a suggestion from someone who came up to us, a student who came up to us at our booth this summer at Lit Fest. And then the other is to write about architect or architecture. And that's in honor, loosely, because 2023 is the 300th anniversary of the death of Sir Christopher Wren. And if you haven't heard of him, he is the one who basically rebuilt London after it was burned down in the Great Fire. And he also is most famous for St. Paul's Cathedral. So, but you don't have to limit your poetry writing on architecture to him. You can write about any architect or any building that strikes your fancy. And then the last challenge is a form challenge where you get to write about any subject, so not the themes necessarily, but you have to do it in the form of a poem called Amayo.
Amayo, I think.
Amayo, whatever. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's a nice short little non-rhyming Japanese form, and longer than a haiku, so it gives you a little bit more chance to express yourself if you think haikus are just too short.
And more syllables.
And more syllables. You have more syllables to play with, so it's all good. The deadline for submissions is January 31st, so be sure to check out our website where you can download the submission guidelines, the entry form, and instructions on how to write an Amayo. Since I can't remember right now, I won't offer those instructions here. But yes, and then we have 3 different judges. Each one is responsible for judging their particular challenge or theme, and the poets that they select, poems they select, are then featured on the website's Muses Gallery for April, Highland Poetry Month, and we also publish a printed anthology as well, so that's all coming as well. But gosh, you know what, now you bring me to mind that we've got lots of other things going on since COVID. A couple of things that we've been doing are writing poetry book reviews. You've written reviews for that, and you've actually
I
had
wrote
your
one.
And you also had your book
Had
reviewed.
my book reviewed, yes.
So what was that like to have, either writing a review or...
I think for me, the first part about writing a review is just falling into that book and really kind of feel your way through it and get to know. I think when I did, it was Mary Jo Ballesteri's Still. and I came out of reading that book and felt like I had a new best friend. I just felt so connected to her. And although we still have yet to meet on person, we usually wave to each other at a Zoom meeting. But I enjoy the difference between poet and other books, and then I enjoy meeting new poets. So I think that kind of makes it easy to write those reviews.
Oh, okay, good.
And having your book reviewed by someone else is such an honor. I mean, I was so moved by the review written about my book. And then I love going through on the website. You have them all posted, and it's almost like reading a preview, and it really helps you decide if it's a poet you want to read more from, or get excited about hearing that poet if that poet's going to be reading at a reading. So I think it's a nice service.
Yeah.
that
Well,
we
it's
provide.
free. There's no charge. We have a sort of a list of poets who have books coming out that want to be paired with their book to be paired with a volunteer reviewer, and then people who are interested will reach out. You can contact me through visit the website for my email, and reviews are brief. Some writers do go longer, but generally the guidelines are just between 500 and 750 words, so it's not an unreasonable amount. It's just to give you a flavor of what the writer's work and words are, and to get you excited about it. The other new thing that Highland Park has been doing since COVID is we've really started taking off on Facebook, our Facebook page, publishing a new poem every day, so a daily poem post. Initially it started because we weren't able to do readings and events, so we wanted to give people a forum for the COVID experience. So we asked people to write about their COVID experience, or to write about poems that inspire calm, or poetry that talks about perseverance against challenges. So, which COVID certainly was. Have I said that too much? No? Okay. Now we continue to post daily poems, but now we've expanded that vision. Shorter poems are better just because on the social media platform, attention spans are short. So shorter poems tend to do better. But we've published marvelous poems about political events, current events. Things that come to mind were, Marjorie Rissman writing about the dismantling of Roe versus Wade, or Marianne Peel writing about the war in Ukraine. When that first came on the news, and wow, that poem actually I think got like 2,000 or 3,000 views just in a span of a day or two. So that was pretty impressive. I don't know. The audience has expanded, and the poems do get a second life. We publish already published poems with acknowledgement. And then after the poem has been posted on Facebook, the following month we've dedicated a page on our website where all of the poems from that month are posted for another month before they're then archived into a downloadable PDF that should be searchable. So, because we've painstakingly put the names in so that you can just go on the website and look up the name of the poet that you're looking for, and you'll find it.
And you always pair a lovely image
Yes.
Oh, thanks.
with the poem,
Yeah.
choose appropriate colors. You do really nice. I don't know
try.
how that's your third doppelganger, I think, that does that every morning.
Yeah, the one that gets up at 4. And you mentioned Marjorie, and I think maybe we should mention that the other 3 lovely women on our team are Julie Isaacson, Marjorie Rissman, and Janae Harris. And we all come from different backgrounds, and I'm just honored to be a part of amazing women and poets. And it's great to be part of this team. Really, it's
Yeah, we've
wonderful.
gotten to know each other pretty well, and it's nice because almost every time there are 1 or 2 who can't make it
Right.
to the event, and there are always 2 or 3 that'll step up and okay, I'll be there this time, and I'll do this and I'll do this. So we
great.
play off each other.
Yeah, it's a real team.
And it's nice to let you have a break too once
Yeah.
in a while.
I know,
Nights
but
that
unfortunately,
you can't go.
I keep filling that break with other things because now I thought about the other new venture that Highland Park Poetry was doing, which is that we announced, opened it for submissions last year, which was the Prairie State Poetry Prize for a first or second book. This is to give poets who have published maybe a chapbook or haven't done any publication whatsoever, an opportunity to have a manuscript reviewed by our guest judge, and all the judging is blind, so the judges don't know anything about who you are.
Right.
They're looking at the work itself. And this year our judge was Cynthia Gallagher, a Chicago poet, very talented and author of several books, and she has made her selection. Now my lips are sealed. We won't be announcing, but we have selected a manuscript that Highland Park Poetry Press will be publishing this year.
Nice.
Supposed to come out this summer. And of course, we hope that they'll also be a guest for,
Yes.
for
Yes.
a featured reading
Yeah.
at a reading. So
That'd be great.
I think we have time for maybe one more poem. You got a short one, or?
I do.
I do.
You
Yeah.
go ahead this time.
Okay, all right. So I've been doing a poem a day kind of thing. So on this day in some forgotten time, BC or AD, someone famous did something to make them famous. But more importantly, on this day in any given year, millions more people did nothing to make themselves famous.
Bravo for the non-famous people. Well, I'll share. So one of my projects over COVID was creating a little chapbook, handcrafted. And it's about women who have influenced me, and women of today, women of the past, and women from my family. So this is a short one that I wrote about women of today, or women of tomorrow, actually, based on a photograph that I saw online. And you might have seen the photograph too. So the title is At Michelle Obama's Portrait, Washington, D.C. Little Parker looks up in her pink coat and boots and stares at the regal lady she believes is a queen. Let her imagine it. Let little girls everywhere see the power and strength of a woman and feel her guiding hand. Let Parker drift to sleep, seeing her own face in the portrait, her own hand painting the dress. In her eyes, the infinite.
Oh, I like that so much.
Remember that picture
Oh,
of
yeah,
that little girl in
yeah.
the pink coat
Yeah.
staring up at Michelle Obama's picture?
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
You have one more short one?
I don't. I did not. I'm unprepared.
No, but we should plug that you're doing, you're teaching poetry. You have poetry classes.
Yes,
coming
at
up,
the
and
library.
The library, and memoir writing as well.
Yes,
so-
yes. The Highland Park Public Library offers the, they call it Library U, for short for Library University, and they offer poetry writing workshops with me, as well as actually writing poetry in Spanish by another Highland Park poet, Olivia Edelman, Olivia Maciel Edelman. And she's marvelous as well. And then I also facilitate a memoir writing workshop. So
Very nice.
lots of opportunities all
Yes.
around.
Yeah.
Words.
We live in a wonderful area.
This is the place to be if you're a writer, especially if you're a poet.
Great. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming to join me today on this revamp episode.
Yay!
Yes, we're back. So we hope to have a monthly episode, and there'll be more coming. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers to a verse-filled year.